Hello there, people. This is Christian. Welcome back to my computer and this colorful image in front of us. This is from a question on Facebook. I really don't know what this is. It has an interesting shape. We can do some interesting thing with features in Fusion, so we can have a look at that. This can be something you put a pipe here and we can scrape things, or this might be an air nozzle. I would try to make both of them. I will not make a totally smooth transition of this, but yeah, we can play around with this. I'm going to show you the basic idea I have. I'm just going to do some markings so we can talk. Let's turn down the lines and do it, switch colors of it, like orange. So let's break down the geometry. The lower part here is quite simply two cylinders. There's nothing strange. And we have a transition here over to a top part here that in this direction it looks square, but looking from the side, for this side, we can see that it's like a triangle profile. So I'm going to use this triangle profile here. I'm going to use the two cylinders here and then make the transition. And the transition was going to be loft command. So with that, let's pop over to Fusion. I have started by saving the file and I'm going to create a component. That's rule number one. I'm just going to call this thing because I do not know what it is. We're just going to call it thing. The dimensions is just totally random. I'm just going to take whatever I like. Start sketch, create sketch. We'll do it from the top, looking from the top. We're going to make two circles. We're going to make the two cylinders. So we get two circles. D for dimension. The inner I'm going to do 12. And the outer one, let's do it 20. Like that. We're going to finish sketch. Simply hit E on the keyboard for extrude. I'm going to rotate the view slightly. I'm going to start with the inner one. Minus 25. And once again, E. Outer minus 5. I chose it to do both downwards, which means if I turn on the origin point stays here, so I can use that in the next sketch. Let's open up our component and let's hide that sketch. Let's look at the design once again. So I made the two cylinders. Let's make the top part, and I said triangle. So I'm going to create a sketch. I like to view the part from the front, so I'm going to rotate it to the side and make the sketch here from the right side, or we can do from the left side. We're going to do some lines. We're going to start with a line from meridian point straight up. We're going to use that to align things later. Some more lines. We're going to do a little triangle, something like that. I got a perpendicular to that, or we couldn't get a horizontal constraint. It doesn't matter that much. Escape to stop line command. Midpoint between this line and the point. Do not select the line. We want the point. We gonna tell Fusion also, okay, stop that. This line here, I'm gonna mark this line and turn it construction, make it a bit more easy visibility. And of course, the problem is that we can move this triangle here. The legs are not equal. You can use a horizontal constraint, lock this top in, or we simply looking to do equal between the two legs of the triangle. D for dimension. This is going to be the distance of the loft, of course, so just do the 22. Yeah. We're going to do the width of this nozzle, do it 6 millimeters. Yeah, and the height of this spiky part, let's do it 20. So I have made my triangle sketch. I'm going to do finish sketch. And once again, E on the keyboard for extrude. But I'm going to change this to symmetric. Whole length. And I think it'll be something like 40. Is that wide enough? No, let's do it 50. So 50 like that. Hit OK. Hide that sketch. So we have our triangle shape. Let's look at the picture again. Gonna move back. Nope, I don't want to save things. So let's have a look here. We have this shape here. So I made this. I want to make this rounded shape here. I don't know how they've done this here, but there's an interesting thing you can do in Fusion. You can use fillets. You know, fillet around the things. Change the type to full round fillet and select asking for the center face. And the center face is, of course, the triangle face. And in this case, it was nice enough to pick the correct side. Sometimes it doesn't do well. Let's see if I can fail. If I do it like... Oh, well, you're nice. Oh, I gotta click down here. Sometimes no, you are too nice. Can you please fail? I like when Fusion fails like that. You can see, okay, I made a fillet, but it's the wrong faces. I want to show you this. So you can do side one. You cannot select any side right now. You have to hold down Control and then select this face. Side 2, hold down Control. You don't need for the second face, you can simply click it. In that way, I've created this fillet. And the nice thing, if we look straight at the side, it goes straight down and rounds off like that. And I'm going to do plus, add a selection. I'm also going to do this one here. So let's see if I can be lazy and simply click the face like that. If a problem, add the sides as you want. If it does it correctly, happy times. Click OK. And we made around the corners. And the interesting thing about these are that these are angled cones. You can think of this as a cone, but because it's tangent to these two edges, and it's aligned with this edge out here, of the early edge over here. So it's a slightly tilted cone that's cut off at the bottom. And the fun and good thing about this is not a circle anymore. This is like an, I think it's some type of hyperbolic curve. It's not on ellipse. I think it's hyperbolic curve. Doesn't matter. But it makes the loft a bit easier to create. It's just a good thing. Create the loft. I'm gonna select this face here, and I'm gonna select the bottom face up here. Gonna be join, but moving around, you can see Fusion creates this line here, and it's a bit in an awkward place, which we can see. I have now, just gonna right click still. I'm going to turn on orthographic view. So if I click on the left view and look at things, you can slightly see that things are tilted. We just turn and analyze this isocurves and pop those up into oblivious amounts of them, like that. We don't need the curvature comps. And look straight from the front. If you look at the front, you can see the curves here, especially one in the middle, is angled to the side. This one should be basically straight up. If we move to this side, to the left, we can see that the loft is slightly twisted, and I don't want that. The loft can be basically correct, but I want to help Fusion to get things in the right place. So we're going to take and turn around, go back to the feature. Let's see if it still updates. No, it drops it. So I'm going to start by dragging this. But you can see the two white points that popped up. And we move this line. You can see the loft changes its shape as I move it around. So I move this guideline over to here. And then, of course, I take the guideline up here and do the same thing. I move it around. You can see I have a nice point out there. And if I drop it now and look from the left, you can see the isocurves line here are now aligned. The parts look symmetric. And if I look from the front, you can see I don't have an isocurve exactly in the middle. Let's see if we can pop in some more. Yep, you can see the isocurve in the middle goes straight up. It's like a feather. They're spreading out. So I'm going to hit OK. And I now have basically what I want. This is if you want to make a scraper. Yes, we can do the loft with some different connections. You can use tangent and we call it curvature connections. But if we want to turn this into a nozzle, I want to use the shell command. And if you start doing a lot of tangents, it sometimes fails. But anyway, so we're going to turn this now from a solid into an air nozzle. We're going to blow in air here, and it's going to come up out of this long slit here. So I need to somehow flatten the face here. We can do that with a chamfer. Select this. I'm going to let's do 2 millimeters. That looks nice. So I've got myself a flat face up here. I'm going to hit OK. Going to do the shell command. Select this top face here. The part around. Select the bottom face and do it like the most normal wall thickness is 0.4. And let's see, it doesn't open up the face here. I'm going to click OK. So what I need to do, go back to the chamfer and make that 3 millimeters. And now you can see I have a very small opening. So by editing the chamfer 3.5, I can change how much this opening in. Of course, I can use measure to see what's the distance from here to here. Is now 0.22 millimeters. And by doing that, I can make myself a little small air blower. And you can also now from here go and offset faces to make things thicker and all of that. So I hope you have found some interesting things in this workflow that you can use. And with that said, take care. See you around, and goodbye.